Matthew 10, Jesus summoned his 12 disciples and gave them authority over unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal every kind of disease and every kind of sickness. Wow, not just some, every kind of disease and every kind of sickness. Absolute authority. So this is the chapter 10, Matthew, the 12 apostles are sent. Now the name of the 12 apostles are these. The 12, they're in the notes here, it says they're always listed in a similar order. Peter is always named first. The list contains 3 groups of 4. The 3 subgroups are always listed in the same order. The first name in each subgroup is always the same, though there is some variation in the order within the subgroups. But Judas Iscariot is always named last. Peter, Andrew, James, John, the first subgroup of 4 are the most familiar. So now the names of the 12 apostles are these: Simon, who is called Peter, Cephas, and Andrew his brother, and James the son of Zebedee, and John his brother, Philip, and Bartholomew, Thomas, and Matthew the tax collector, James the son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus, elsewhere called Judas, not Iscariot, Simon the Zealot, and Judas Iscariot, the one who betrayed him. Now these 12 Jesus sent out after instructing them, do not go in the way of the Gentiles, and do not enter any city of the Samaritans, but rather go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and as you go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, cast out demons. Freely you received, freely give. So don't charge money for the miracles. Do not acquire gold or silver or copper for your money belts, or a bag for your journey, or even 2 coats, or sandals, or a staff. For the worker is worthy of his support. And whatever city or village you enter, inquire who is worthy in it, and stay at his house until you leave that city. As you enter the house, give it your greeting, and if the house is worthy, give it your blessing of peace, shalom. But if it is not worthy, take back your blessing of peace. Whoever does not receive you nor heed your words as you go out of that house or that city, shake the dust off your feet. Truly I say to you, it will be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. Behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. So be shrewd as serpents and innocent as doves. Behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. So be shrewd as serpents and innocent as doves. Be wise as serpents and harmless as doves, in the KJV. But beware of men, for they will hand you over to the courts and scourge you in their synagogues, and you will even be brought before governors and kings for my sake, as a testimony to them and to the Gentiles. But when they hand you over, do not worry about how or what you are to say, for it will be given you in that hour what you are to say. For it is not you who speak, but it is the Spirit of your Father who speaks in you. And brother shall betray brother. What are we? 21. Brother will betray brother to death, and a father his child, and children will rise up against parents and cause them to be put to death. You will be hated by all because of my name. But it is the one who has endured to the end who will be saved. It is the one who endures to the end. But whenever they persecute you in one city, flee to the next, for truly I say to you, you will not finish going through the cities of Israel until the Son of Man comes. Let's see what Dr. MacArthur says here. A disciple is not above his teacher, nor a slave above his master. It is enough for the disciple that he become like his teacher, and the slave is like his master. If they have called the head of the house Beelzebul, that was the Philistine deity associated with satanic idolatry, the name came to be used for Shaitan, the prince of demons. 2 Kings 1:2, Luke 11:15. Now, how much more will they malign the members of his household if they call the head Beelzebub? Doing what he does by the power of Satan. Therefore, do not fear them, for there is nothing concealed that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. What I tell you in darkness, speak in the light. And what you hear whispered in your ear, proclaim upon the housetops. Do not fear those who kill the body, but are unable to kill the soul. But rather fear him who is able to destroy both body and soul in hell. Sorry, I did dyslexia there. Both soul and body in the fiery hell. So the people that say there is no hell. Well, Jesus said, do not fear those who kill the body, but are after that have nothing more that they can do. Here he says, who kill the body but are unable to kill the soul, but rather fear him. Fear him who is able to destroy both soul and body in where? Hell. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a cent, and yet not one of them will fall to the ground apart from your Father? But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So do not fear. You are more valuable than many sparrows. Therefore everyone who confesses me before men, I will also confess him before my Father who is in heaven. Praise God. But whoever denies me before men, I will also deny him before my Father who is in heaven. Lord, may we never deny you in word and deed. Forgive us those trespasses where we have. Sanctify us, Lord. Do not think I came to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I came to set a man against his father, and before everyone goes, is he bringing violence? No, just listen to what he said. Listen to the whole thing. And a sword is the word of God anyhow, the way he usually uses it. I came not to bring peace, but a sword. I'd be interested to see if that is the Greek word that matches the Hebrew word for shalom. I came not to bring tranquility, it might be, or Dr. MacArthur says, though the ultimate end of the gospel is peace with God, the immediate result of the gospel is frequently conflict. Conversion to Christ can result in strained family relationships, persecution, even martyrdom. Following Christ presupposes a willingness to endure such hardships. Though he is called Prince of Peace, Christ will have no one deluded into thinking that he calls believers to a life devoid of conflict. See, that's what I'm saying. He just said it a lot more scholarly. For I came to set a man against... Okay, I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. And let him finish. For I came to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man's enemies will be the members of his household. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he who does not take his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. And he who has found his life will lose it, and he who has lost his life for my sake will find it. He who receives you receives me, and he who receives me receives him who sent me. He who receives a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward. And he who receives a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward. And whoever in the name of a disciple gives one of these little ones even a cup of cold water to drink, truly I say to you, he shall not lose his reward. So 1038, Dr. MacArthur points out, this is the first mention of the word cross to his disciples. See notes on 1621. To them it would have evoked a picture of violence, degrading death. He was demanding total commitment from them, even unto physical death, making this call to a full surrender part of the message they were to proclaim to others. Christ lives in his people. In 1040, he who receives you receives me. Christ lives in his people. They also come in his name as his ambassadors. Therefore, how they are treated is how he is treated. Good to remember that. That's what he's saying. A prophet. He who receives a prophet in the name of a prophet. The prophet in the name of a prophet, etc. To welcome Christ's emissaries is tantamount to welcoming him. Wow. So we ought to love one another and treat each other just like we would hope to be treated, but more. Whoever receives you receives me, and he who receives me receives him who sent me, God the Father. He receives the prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward. I say to you, he shall not, whoever in the name of a disciple gives to one of these little ones even a cup of cold water to drink, truly I say to you, he shall not lose his reward. It's not for gain that we should be giving to one another either. It's for love of Christ, love of him, that we should sacrificially give. Don't you agree? Not just to be good ourselves or to get the reward. It's because the key part is you're receiving him. Okay, that's chapter 10. Let's see on our little plan, Matthew 10. Now I'm trusting this thing because it's kind of not reading the accounts together. Now it's having a seat jump to Matthew 14. Yeah, anyway, we'll just follow this blue letter Bible chronological plan. All right, Matthew 14. I guess this is just the response. share. Where do you want to go? Over here? I don't know. So at that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard the news about Jesus and said to his servants, "This is John the Baptist. He has risen from the dead." And that is why his miraculous powers are at work in him. So for when Herod had John arrested, he bound him and put him in prison because of Herodias, the wife of his brother Philip. For John had been saying to him, "It is not lawful for you to have her." Although Herod wanted to put him to death, he feared the crowd because they regarded John as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday came, the daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herod, so much so that he promised with an oath to give her whatever she asked. Matthew 14. Oops. The daughter danced, whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she asked. He promised with an oath. Never really a good idea to use an oath. It says, right, swear on nothing. Bible. And, oh yeah, back in 534, not to swear at all. Neither by heaven, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Don't be swearing oaths. Okay. Having been prompted by her mother, she said, "Give me here on a platter the head of John the Baptist." What a horrible... Yikes. Although he was grieved, the king commanded it to be given because of his oaths and because of his dinner guests. He sent and had John beheaded in the prison, and his head was brought on a platter and given to the girl, and she brought it to her mother. His disciples came and took away the body and buried it, and they went and reported to Jesus. Now when Jesus heard about John, he withdrew from there in a boat to a secluded place by himself. And when the people heard of this, they followed him on foot from the cities. Followed him foot from the cities. When he went ashore, he saw a large crowd and felt compassion for them and healed their sick. When it was evening, the disciples came to him and said, "This place is desolate, and the hour is already late, so send the crowds away, that they may go into the villages and buy food for themselves." But Jesus said to them, "They do not need to go away. They do not need to depart. Give ye them to eat." And they say unto him, "We have here but 5 loaves and 2 fishes. He said, "Bring them hither to me." And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass, and took the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, and looking up to heaven, he blessed and broke and gave the loaves to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. The disciples gave to the crowds, and they all ate and were satisfied. They picked up what was left over of the broken pieces, 12 full baskets. And there were about 5,000 men who ate, besides women and children. Immediately he made the disciples go into the boat and go ahead of him to the other side, while he sent the crowds away. After he had sent the crowds away, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. And when it was evening, he was there alone, but the boat was already a long distance from the land, battered by the waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night he came to them, walking on the sea. Fourth watch of the night, Jesus went unto them, walking on the sea. And when his disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were afraid. They were terrified and said, "It is a ghost." It is a spirit, and they cried out for fear. They cried out in fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid." Peter said to him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." And he said, "Come." And Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water and came toward Jesus. But seeing the wind, he became frightened, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and took hold of him and said to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" When they got into the boat, the wind stopped, and those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, "You are certainly God's Son." So he gets in the boat, the wind stopped. So he had the winds going for a reason. He stopped them. And those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, "You are certainly God's Son." When they had crossed over, they came to land at Gennesaret. And when the men of that place recognized him, they sent word into all the surrounding district and brought to him all who were sick. And they implored him that he might just touch the fringe of his cloak. As many as touched it were cured. So now we go to Mark 6. Mark 6. What time is it? Oh, it's getting late. Gotta go to work soon. Mark. Jesus is rejected at Nazareth. How long is it? Well, we'll save this one. That was good though. Matthew 10, Matthew 14, and we'll go to Mark 6 next. Let's see. Oh, that's it. Where are you? Oh, yeah. Pray with me now. Lord, remove all doubt. Do the work in our hearts. Fulfill the work of the Word. By the Spirit, by the Comforter, give us this shalom. And bless us as you bless the children of Israel. And help us to bless those who are in your name, brothers. In the name of a prophet, in the name of a disciple. Help us to show kindness unto them and love, and know and remember that it is love for you that we must show to all people at all times, no matter what. Solidify that in our words. Choose out for us what to say. May I never speak again. May I never speak again. May you speak through us for your precious glory, the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings. Bless us with this blessing as well. Yavreichacha Adonai vishmarecha, Ya'er Adonai pana alecha vichonika, Yisa Adonai pana alecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to smile upon you and be gracious to you. May he lift up his countenance towards you and give you peace, complete peace. Shalom.